Guess who's back in the house? I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day. I just finished watching Pose Season 2, Episode 6, and this was a well written episode. I forgot to see who wrote this episode, but whoever wrote it did a fantastic job. Before I start, I want to thank all of my new subscribers. I really appreciate you choosing to watch the content that I have placed on my channel. It really means a lot to me. And if you can, please share this on your social media so more people can come and watch. And so we start off the episode with a ball. The category is Back to the Future. And early on, we see that Pray Tell is sweating like I am. Again, it is very hot in California right now, and I don't have air conditioner in the Yates studio as of yet, but hopefully it will be coming soon. And so he's sweating. He's starting to kind of like go in and out of consciousness, and he passes out. He wakes up, he's in the hospital surrounded by Blanca and Sandra Bernhardt. And so Sandra tells him that he is low on platelets and that he is actually is having a reaction to the AZT medication. And they tell him that they have to take him off of the medication and that the medication will be out of his system in about 2 weeks. And he is pissed. And the doctor leaves the room and he's talking to Blanca and Sandra. And basically he's telling them that they are the reason why he is in the hospital because they pressured him into taking the medication. So during this time when AZT first came out, it was just one type of AZT. Fortunately today, there are multiple types of HIV and AIDS medication that can be used to create a customized treatment plan for individuals who have HIV and AIDS. But during this time, during the early 90s, it was just one type of AZT. And this actually happened that because everyone's bodies react differently to medication, some people had adverse reactions to the medication. And so Pray Tell is one of those people who the medication was having a negative impact on his health. And so he has a complete tantrum, as he says, and he tells Blanca and Sandra to get out of his room. And so before going on, I just want to say that I am thankful to organizations during this time and currently who raise money for HIV and AIDS research. It was so important at the time because kind of like when AIDS was first discovered, the government was not putting forth money to actually research HIV and AIDS. And so it was grassroots organizations, it was community leaders, it was the people in ACT UP who were raising money for AIDS research. And so the entire community should thank these organizations. And I know I say this every single week, but I really love the conversations that Pose is allowing us to have in the community. And so we're still at the hospital, and Pray Tell is moved to a different room where now he currently has a roommate, and the roommate is a another black male. The black male is kind of like coughing, and he tells Pretel that he has pneumonia. And so Pretel says, I thought I knew every black queen in the community. And the guy says that I used to work at B. Altman. I've never heard of that department store. I believe it's a department store. I used to work at B. Altman, and I'm a college-educated man. I am not a queen. And Pretel is really offended by this because queen is a term of endearment in the house and ballroom community and in the mainstream gay community. And so this really made me think about the word queen. If someone would have called me queen maybe 10 years ago, I would have been offended by that. But under the Trump administration, after winning marriage equality, but knowing that the LGBTQ plus community has so far to go, that the word queen just seems so low on the totem pole for reasons to be upset. And so again, like, this is something that's important in the community, kind of like knowing what matters and what we can let go. And so I really loved that moment between Pretel and his roommate. And so fast forward, Pretel is watching TV, and his roommate is really hacking. And so the nurses run into the room, and it seems as if he's going into cardiac arrest. And so Pretel screams at the nurses, I know what this is. It's the poison, the drugs that you're giving him. You're poisoning him. And they actually have to sedate him to take care of his roommate. The roommate, unfortunately, is pronounced dead. And because of the medication that the nurses give to Pretel, he starts to hallucinate, and he sees Candy. I know that Twitter and Instagram and Facebook erupted when Candy came back. This is the moment that everyone was waiting for after Candy's death, for her arrival back on screen. And she looked 20 times better. Like, I don't know if she was assigned a different makeup artist and hair person, but she looked good. I mean, Angelica Ross, the one who plays Candy, is beautiful, but her character looked good. And so Candy tells Pretel that her heaven is being around people that, I believe she used the words, knows her struggle. And all of these people also have AIDS, which I didn't know that Robert Mapplethorpe died of AIDS-related complications. I did not know that. And they kind of also state that Perry Ellis is in her heaven, and I didn't know that he had died of AIDS as well. AIDS really took some of the best and brightest from the community, and it hurts that part of our history has been erased because of AIDS. That's why it's important now for people who do have HIV and AIDS to make sure that they take care of themselves, so that they can stay on this earth longer. And we can document their stories for future generations. And so a number of people visit Pretel during this kind of like hallucination. And it really kind of like put me in the mindset of the poppy field in The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy goes through with the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. And so that's an important um, factor to remember later on in the episode. And so we learn that Pray Tell was molested by his stepfather at age 12, which was heartbreaking. And then he's visited by Costas, his lover, that died at the hospital where he is currently admitted as a patient. And so Costas tells him to get dressed because they need to go to the AIDS cabaret. And so it was a beautiful moment where he's in the hospital gown, but when he steps out into the hallway, he's transformed into this really cool silver sequin tuxedo that has these kind of like long coattails that drop to the floor. And on the coattails, it looks as if there are illuminated bags of trash, which I thought was really weird, but I thought it was a metaphor for the things that we hold on to that are preventing us to become the people who we are meant to become. And so he's walking through the hallway, and then he enters the space of the AIDS cabaret, and he sings a Judy Garland song called The Man That Got Away that was in the second remake of A Star is Born starring Judy Garland. I actually watched this on the airplane when I was flying to Barcelona this past April. I had never seen Garland's version of A Star is Born, and it really kind of was trippy. There was a lot of weird editing in that movie, and I haven't seen Gaga's version of A Star is Born, but it really seems like a completely different movie from what I saw from the trailer from Gaga's A Star is Born. And so his version of the song is beautiful. I loved his rendition. And so he wakes up and it's morning time, and he asks Sandra, "Am I losing my mind?" So fast forward to the house of Evangelista. Blanca is trying to work on the AIDS cabaret, and she is hearing her children in the background like talking very loudly, and it's distracting her. So she storms into the bedroom and says, "I've had it officially, and you guys need to start cleaning up and not talking so loudly." And so Angel is just the perfect daughter, and she recognizes that Blanca isn't mad at them for talking loudly. She has a lot going on. And Blanca says that she is trying to pick talent for the AIDS cabaret. And she drops the name of Johnny Mathis, that I think his agent or his manager has not gotten back to her. And so I thought that was kind of cool, because Johnny Mathis at the time was a very popular, I don't even know what genre of music he's in. I don't know if it's soul or pop, but I only know one Johnny Mathis song, and oh my god, I'm blanking on the name, Chances Are. And I didn't even know that Johnny Mathis was gay until like 3 years ago. And so it was really interesting that they said his name. And much of season 2, they have pulled from history. And so I believe that Johnny Mathis used to perform at AIDS cabarets during this time. And so that's a cool fact to learn. And so Sandra tells Blanca that Pray Tell will not be joining them at the cabaret. Blanca, in true Blanca form, storms up to his room and says, actually, you will be joining us and you will get dressed now. So he goes to the AIDS Cabaret, and I love. So the woman playing the piano, the redhead, is Our Lady J, and she is one of the writers for the show. And she is actually a trained pianist, and so I love when she appears on the show, and she appeared last season also playing piano. And so I kind of like knew this was going to happen. So Blanca says that her landlord, Frederica, will be coming later on to perform. And Frederica actually performs. I forget the name of the song, but Frederica is, oh my gosh, Patti LuPone, who is a Broadway legend. I actually would love to see her on Broadway. I've been to New York so many times, and I've actually never seen a Broadway show. And next time I go to New York, I need to go to a Broadway show, and I need to see her on Broadway. So she sings, and she is incredible. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, this is a distraction. She's trying to keep Blanca here because Blanca is squatting in the nail salon. And we learn, in fact, that after she gets off of the microphone, she calls her son and asks, like, how is Operation Board Up the Nail Salon going? And he says that he needs 2 hours. So after the cabaret, Frederica treats Blanca to dessert, to make sure that her son has boarded up the shop and put on new locks. So, wait, rewind. There's a beautiful moment during the cabaret that Blanca tells everyone in the audience that they've raised $4,000 to go towards AIDS research and to the hospital. And a beautiful moment is when she said that I want you guys to remember that the first word in HIV is human. And even today, there is stigma surrounding HIV. We don't have enough conversations surrounding HIV, and that's why I love Pose. Pose is able to create so many conversations in the community surrounding countless topics. Like, even a topic that I don't agree with is the topic of colorism has really come up in communities that discuss Pose. But I love that Pose has given a spotlight to HIV because enough conversations are not happening, and it's creating conversations. And so fast forward back the next day after the cabaret, Blanca goes to the salon. She sees that it's boarded up, and she has a plan. And so she says that she's going to hold a protest outside of the salon twice a day, and she's contacted the Fair Housing Authority to sue Frederica. And so she is with her house kids in Pray Tell in front of the salon, and she is upset because she's like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know if anyone is going to hear us because it's just so few of us. So Pray Tell has invited the House of Wintour and other people from the ballroom community to protest with them. And so it looks like it's about 60 people in front of the salon. And so Frederica drives by and she realizes that she's in trouble because Blanca is a G and she's not going out like no punk. And so Blanca was squatting, she wasn't expecting that, and now she realizes that she is going to regret this decision. And so in the final scene, Pray Tell is at his home and he's going to bed and he sees Candy's ghost. And she says that she will haunt him forever and remind him that he should take his life sooner than later. And Pray Tell tells Candy that he has a lot of fight left in him and he's going to stay on the earth as long as he can. And then she disappears and he sits down in bed and then he turns off the light and that ends the episode. And what a beautiful way to end the episode. But the final image that we see is a quote, and I love that they've been doing this every episode. And the quote says, "It is necessary to constantly remind ourselves that we are not an abomination." And when I read that, I was like, I've seen this from somewhere before. And it's from Marlon Riggs. If any of you watching do not know who Marlon Riggs is, immediately Google him. Marlon Riggs was an out, gay, creative person. He received a grant from the National Endowment of the Arts to direct Black Is, Black Ain't, and it actually premiered on PBS, which caused controversy. And there were a lot of people in government who actually wanted to, I think, disband the NEA because of giving Marlon Riggs this grant money. And if you've never seen Black Is Black Ain't, you have to see it. Marlon Riggs is, I'm sure you've seen, if you've never heard of him, I'm sure you've seen some of his work. If you've seen clips on Instagram or Twitter, he has this great clip, and I think it's in, what's the other one? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. He has another amazing documentary, and it's What is Shade? And the Medusa Snap. So if you've seen those, you know who Marlon Riggs is. But he has this great scene in Black Is Black Ain't, which was unfortunately his final film, and it had to be finalized after he himself died of AIDS in the mid-90s. And there's this beautiful scene where he's running through like this forest area naked, and we see kind of like flashes of other images. He weaves into it poetry from one of his friends who also died of AIDS, Essex Hemphill, and also I think Joseph Beam. Both their poetry goes in and out of the documentary. And it really is this gorgeous documentary, so please watch it. I can't say enough about it. So we've reached the end of this trade review. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. But in the comment section, please tell me your thoughts. And actually, this time live, I don't see any like chat boxes popping up, so I don't know if you guys are commenting or not, but I can't see any if you are. But if you are, thank you, I appreciate it, and I will see them, I guess, when this goes off. But leave me your thoughts in the comment section. What did you think of this episode? What did you think of Pray Tell's tantrum? What did you think of Frederica? Like, what a shocking moment that was. To actually sing at the AIDS Cabaret knowing that your son is boarding up Blanca's nail shop. What did you think of the protest? Yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Until next week, I hope that you guys have beautiful weeks and that you are kind to everyone that you love, that you're creating your own house of Evangelista with people who you love and adore, and that you are celebrating artists, local artists, now while they're alive. Shower them with flowers and your gratitude. Give people flowers while they are alive now, not when they're dead. Celebrate people now. Live life. Um, until next time, besos. Mwah.